So I will stop here, brother. But I would love to have with you and a brainstorming. I believe you have better access to some cultural institutions. And so on. I wish it's like a dream at this moment to sit down with the Ministry of the Culture, with Minister of Culture, who, well, maybe he is now a former Minister of Culture. I wished, and my part of the dream is that Turkey can be one of the very well organized cultural Roma revolution, because you Turkish, you know very well what means that. And there are Roma, actually, young generation, I can say at this moment, who can. But somehow those Roma are breathing as all these policy issues. You know, we Roma, we are a receiver of policy issues instead to receive a real support and to make change in society where the Roma are living in the cities and so on. Because, you know, for Europe, it's incredible to have one street of Roma with 25,000 citizens that are Roma. We in Holland, we have more or less about 5,000 Romani people, Roma and Sinti. And we can't also play such significant role in a change that we have to do. But also in the same time, you know, a few days ago, I visited the director of Gandhi Center here in Den Haag. And I talk about issues like Roma in Turkey, Roma in Holland, Roma in Central Eastern Europe, especially how um, some countries in this moment, as you know very well, that Europe is extraordinary right-wing Europe. And we, Roma, together with you, not only in Turkey, but also in other countries, we have to answer. We have to react in a sense that they have to be aware that there are people who will fight for freedom of Europe, not Roma, for freedom of Europe from the extreme right wings. And I'm unhappy that still we Romani, we are not so well organized. Uh, and sometimes I'm recalling, maybe they can say that I'm a dreamer, but I still believe that the Gandhi education on nonviolence, because we Roma, we still breathe with kind of Indian values like the Roma, the world is one family. And this is how we Roma are soft in the front of very hard Europe. Look what Slovenia has been done last time, even with the law, you know, to clean up the Romani from Slovenia, but this is not possible. I will react. I will react in a very diplomatic way. I'm preparing myself to visit Ambassador of Slovenia to Netherlands. But I don't know if this is the moment, you know, I become, how to say, happy that you, Özgün, you will do this lecture, and it's very good to talk about. And in 19th of December, we will organize here on a non-governmental level, the Roma Embassy is a digital, say, state that we have support from some people and institutions in Netherlands to do so. And this is related to non-state establishment. How we in this time in 21st century we can use the globalization issues as it is digital world. So I hope that my activism through this body called Roma Embassy, that we can start to have a much better organized dialogue with India, but also with the world, especially with Europe.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Orhan, to to give such important information to our participant. She is new to join us, and I met her in Paris. She was in a GLS conference and Gypsy Lore Society conference. So that is also one of the very important aspects to fight, stereotypes and anti-Gypsism through movies, cinema, and and through art. So there are the different kind of initiatives by Roma in order to combat, stereotypes, discriminations, and all. So I really appreciate Rahime for accepting our invitation to deliver this important and very pertinent speech on the representation of Roma community in cinema. So I ardently welcome you all to this virtual Zoom meeting for participating in the 46th virtual lecture of the Roma lecture series on the theme of representation of Roma communities in cinema. And our speaker today is Dr. Rahime Özgün Kehya, and from Turkey, and she is an academic at Kafkas University in the Department of Cinema and Television. Her area of research includes migration, gender, integration, and cultural diversity in the film and media studies. And Dr. Rahime has also conducted a research project at the Institute of Media Studies at Philipps University of Marburg in Germany. And she has also directed several award-winning films. She has received research and a merit scholarship from DAD. That is one of the world's largest, I think, the funding organization for the international exchange of students and researchers in Germany. And also, she is a recipient of this scholarship from TÜBİTAK in Turkey. And the subject of today's lecture aims at getting around to the cinema culture, background, and the cinematic representation of the Romani people. And as we know that the Roma have the rich cultural heritage, and they have made a great contribution to the world cinema, the world music and dance and art. So Roma have a significant place in this cinematic world with their colorful culture and a way of life contributing to the richness of the character and social awareness. Roma have often been depicted through romanticized and exoticized lenses, stressing their nomadic lifestyle and vibrant culture. There is a primarily non-Roma directors and writers, uh, who are responsible for portraying them in the films and literature. As a result, the portrayal of Roma in cinema has often been marked by stereotypes, depicting them as exotic, mysterious, criminal, and unbound by the social conventions. How- However, the more recent films have aimed to provide nuanced and authentic representations, focusing on the cultural richness and challenges faced by the Roma communities, and the global success of some Romani musicians, singers, and actors like the Tony Gatliff, Yul Brynner, and Elvis Presley, and Oscar winner actor Sir Michael Caine, and a number of their contribution is immense to the global cinema and the global music, but still they are at the margin of the means at the margin of the world cinema and the world music and art. So the Gypsy Band featured in the widely acclaimed film Drome, you might be of the Tony Gatliff, and whose music is based on Romanian popular traditions, in which traditional dances, gypsy melodies, love songs all play at their part. The Manouche of Eastern France have popularized uh, the swing music, and in Eastern and the Balkan, you can find a number of different, ministry music and dances. For example, in Spain, like the flamenco. So uh, they uh, they uh, uh, they made a great and glorious contribution to the world music and dances as well. So generally, but we find the situation otherwise. You find this movie exclude Roma from the narratives about progress, about uh, richness of their cultural heritage, and always these movies are compromised by a hegemonic ethnocentric mindset in terms of cinematic tropes of criminalities. The movies constitute a deleterious representations of the Roma community. You find this in the French movies; they have the different depictions of Roma. They depict and portray Roma, particularly Romani women, as lascivious, sensual, wild, whereas the Italian movies portray Roma men as thieves, associate of the mafia. So these are the stereotyped and negative representations and a portrayal of the community in a film or in cinema across Europe. But now the time changed. We have seen some movies which depict the Roma in a positive sense, uh, and giving them instrument or giving them impetus to combat stereotypes and prejudices, discriminations, their arts. However, our speaker, the today's speaker will shed light on, I think, the Turkish cinema as well. I think that has helped Roma to grow in cinema world, I believe, and that has produced numerous works reflecting social events, the cultural richness, and ethnic diversity. So the Turkey movies always, among these Roma people have also found representation in a Turkish cinema. So the art speaker will talk about that. And so now I would like to stop here. And as we are immensely interested in listening to our speaker today, so Miss Dr. Rahime, so now floor is yours, and you can start here. Thank you very much.
Mm. Thank you, Zameer. Thank you for this nice introduction and opening speech. Actually, you summarized the points I will talk about today, and mainly, and I will give some relatively more positive examples, and also, of course, I will talk about the stereotypes in European cinema, especially. I will give a case sample from Germany, and I will talk about the situation in Turkish cinema, and also for TV series. And hello again to everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Özgün, and in this talk, I will discuss the representations of Romani communities, and I will particularly focus on stereotyping, marginalization, and evolving film practices. And also, I will share some findings on the Turkish media context and conclude a short case study of the Gypsy Queen. My article was published in a very prestigious journal in Romani Studies journal. I will share the link of my article today because this article has a very wide, very detailed analysis. And first of all, do you see my presentation? Do you see my presentation, Zameer?
Yes,
I think so.
I saw, but you can expand your. I think expand the screen of your presentation. It is
The presentation, you mean, right?
yes.
Okay, I will do it. Okay, I will not only show the content.
Yes. Now it's fine.
Okay. Cinema generally, in terms of general minority groups, has long played a powerful role in shaping. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
go
don't
ahead.
hear you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Cinema has a powerful role in shaping how societies imagine minority groups. And for Roma communities, this role has been double-edged, okay, as a position on the margins. Of course, cinema is a very popular, very powerful and popular tool, and it can raise awareness. It can help to good intentions for inclusion, for cultural diversity. But on the other hand, it has been a significant media for misrepresentation, underrepresentation, exoticization, and social and cultural othering. And my aim today is to highlight key patterns across European and Turkish cinema, discuss recent shifts in representation, and emphasize the importance of collaborative and participatory filmmaking. Let's first let's look at the term inclusion. And inclusion stands in contrast to exclusion and marginalization. And it is not all the same, although it has not all the same time the same meanings with integration or social cohesion, but they are quite similar terms, and they are related to socio-economic and political dimensions, and they embody a holistic process. And inclusion and social cohesion and cultural diversity call for a collective societal responsibility and dismantle pressing issues such as otherness, prejudice, exclusion, exploitation, like gender discrimination, hate speech, and racism. And the Romani people, in particular, often, one moment, oh, okay. The Roma, in particular, often grapple with challenges in their countries, and one of the problem is the poverty, for example, and we must see the reasons of poverty, for example, instead of just stereotypes. And also, in this talk, I will talk about Romani woman representations. For example, of course, women of diverse ethnic backgrounds frequently find themselves in narrow roles. These are quite narrow spectrum, and they are characterized by limitations, and these limitations fail to reflect their true complexity. And of course, minorities with especially disadvantaged backgrounds are often find themselves in cliché portrayals, and female minorities endure stereotyping at the intersection of cultural and gender biases. So their lower social status and are reinforced. Okay. However, there are some, as you talked in your opening speech, Zameer, there are some potentials for transformations. And however, we need more films produced to show their diversity, and it can give a deeper understanding and appreciation of the complexities of being human. So when we see Romani women in films, they are frequently depicted as sensual or eroticized, mysterious fortune teller tropes, for example, and poor people, they are depicted as people. This is not only for Romani women, by the way. Romani men also frequently depicted as people with experiencing poverty and socially marginal, for example, beggar or criminal, or trapped within limited cultural cliches like nomadic lifestyle, patriarchal power structures within extended families. And I'm also in Germany. I also studied the migration issues in cinema, and also in Turkey, we see not always same, but similar representations for people with migration background in Germany, for example, or in England. We see with people with color, or in France, for example, there's a cinema of banlieue, or there are specific terms for this sort of films related to minorities. And of course, we have to be more careful, because Romani people are in the social life or in the films sometimes depicted with more marginalization. For example, being as a beggar, or migrant people's representation in Germany. For example, Turks are the biggest group with migration background, and also they have a depiction as criminals in some representational trends. So at the end, Roma representation rarely achieves the balance of being human with culture. So the universal values are urgently needed for Roma representation. Let me talk about earlier representations first. For example, these early representations from European cinema, Gaggiodilo is the Tony Gottlieb spin. It was produced in 1997. And Americus Turika's film. It is a very famous film in Turkey, for example. 19 and the music of the time of the gypsies are popular in Turkey, for example. And Time of the Gypsies was produced in 1988. And according to some researchers like Elena Gabor and Sean Homer, these films show negative images of Roma. And Elena Gabor in 2007 studied these films, how they use stereotypes. And she explained that Romani people are portrayed in these films, and the reasons. First, there are several reasons. First, in the 1980s, in Europe, they became more visible. Second, they gained political freedom after communism ended in 1989. And third, the media made their stories more accessible to audiences. And she also has some arguments for Gaggiodilo. In Gaggiodilo, Romani communities clash with the dominant Romanian peasantry. In Time of the Gypsies, the film focuses on issues within the Romani community. The other one, the communities with the problems with Romanian peasantry. And according to Gabor, these films can help audience understand the challenges faced by Roma, but for people who are less informed, they can also strengthen stereotypes. Okay, so the audience is diverse, and if the audience the situation depends on the audience knowledge on Romani people. So, another researcher, Homer, also criticized Gaggiodilo for spreading harmful stereotypes instead of showing the richness and diversity of Romani culture. To sum up, these films are romanticizing poverty, exoticizing gypsy culture, and speaking about Roma without engaging with them. Because, of course, it is much better to have a Romani director. I think it is very ideal. But sometimes, in terms of, for example, Turkish context, in Germany, the directors with migration background, of course, produce some films. But here, important is the funding mechanisms. Sometimes even this is called an accented cinema with accent. People self-represent themselves. However, sometimes funding institutions and the conditions of the film is also important. So we need a representation with participation, with a real participation, to avoid this long-standing problem. Now I want to talk about patterns of marginalization. Again, there are two academics, Hadziadik and Hoffman, in 2017 talked about certain patterns of marginalization in contemporary film. In many fictional feature films and television series over the past 100 years, the portrayal of Romani woman has often served as an erotic fantasy and a means of marginalizations. However, in their study, there are some recent documents, and these documentaries challenge stereotypes. Okay. These rare films are offered as examples of alternative forms of representation to highlight the role of the dominant society and locations. And in terms of gender issues, many female protagonists were depicted as active participants in European societies, often engaged in struggles for their rights. So in my slide, I also added the reference for this study. And also there we see some boxing films, and Roma are represented as boxers in these films, Gypsy and Snatch. These films are regarding Roma and traveler communities, and Gypsy Rukeli Trollman's Camps Umsleben was directed by Wegener in 2014, and the other one on the right is Snatch, is a film from 2000. Let me begin with Gypsy. This is a docudrama, and it introduces us John Rukeli Trollman. He was a remarkable boxer who competed during the Nazi era. Trollman won the German light heavyweight championship in 1933. However, he was stripped of his title simply because he was Roma. Okay. And Radmila Mladonova points out that Gypsy is an early and not entirely successful attempt to bring this history to the screen. She argues that the film uses its material uncritically and misses opportunities to engage more deeply within the complexities of Trollman's story. And Snatch is about London's criminal underworld, a modern action comedy. In this film, an Irish traveler boxer plays a central role, and according to Stephen Gillen, the character is portrayed as confident, skilled, and undeniably charismatic. Yet the film also falls back on familiar cliches, especially the romanticized idea of the gypsy fighter. Because of this, Snatch has been criticized for repeating stereotypes, even as it presents a diverse range of characters. And now let me talk about anti-Gypsyism and film. And there's a book of Radmila Mladonova, and this is a German book. However, it is, I think it has an English translation, I remember, and Anti-Gypsyism and Film. The book is called. If you want more thorough book, you can refer to this study. It offers a comprehensive critique of how anti-Roma prejudice has been normalized in some European film landscape. So this book not contain not only the problematic portrayals, but also it offers strategies for subversion. So cinema can be really a strong instrument to build empathy and sustainable empathy within the community. So her citation is important in terms of whiteness matters. Specific to these films is their skeletal structure of an ethno-racial masquerade, their inherent likeness to the cinema of attractions and film noir, as well as the instrumental use they make of the over-familiar gypsy figure, invariably portrayed as the non-white other for the construction, renegotiation, and stabilization of nationwide identities across Europe and the USA. Now, I want to talk about specifically the German context, because later I will talk about a film produced in Germany and Austria. They are co-produced countries, and we can see with these countries, there's a long-standing anti-Roma and anti-Gypsy stereotypes, and they are criticized. And these narratives in the films have contributed significantly to the stigmatization and discrimination of Roma communities living in Germany. And cinema and also media portrayals often play a central role in reinforcing this prejudice. Since gaining EU citizenship and the right to free movement, many Roma have migrated Germany, and they have been presented not as citizens exercising legal rights, but impoverished newcomers who supposedly exploit the welfare system, who don't follow the rules, for example. And reports describe how they are depicted as making excessive noise, littering public spaces, or engaging in criminal behavior. And according to the 2020 monitoring reports on the acute treatments of Sinti and Roma, and the fight against anti-Gypsyism, there are some of most persistent and harmful narratives circulating in the German media. Of course, these images shape public opinion, feed political discourse, and ultimately influenced how Roma individuals are treated in their everyday lives. Let me talk about a small case study. This is Nelly's Adventure is a film for children, and children are a very important audience targeted audience, and the film is aimed at young audiences, and the film relies heavily on long-standing anti-Roma stereotypes. And of course, I don't want to repeat stereotypes again and again, but this film was criticized as only shown traditional dancers, petty criminals, swindlers, beggars, kidnappers, and but in this film, the missing is the Roma people are students, professionals, or simply as ordinary people. But in this film, these real roles of Romani people are missing. So there were some Romani organizations also they criticized this film actually because children are very important audience. Excuse me, I have to there's an urgent call. One moment please. Efendim? Abi ben kapatmalıyım. Ben toplantıdayım şimdi. Önemli bir şey mi var? Tamam, hadi görüşürüz. This can be risky, and including this sort of films in school curricula could be harmful, actually. So children's media is maybe more important to build curricula and to shape their opinions, their views about minority people. Because these films are the stories helping to shape young people's understanding the world and people around them. Okay. So let me talk about some representations. There are also some shifts. I will talk about the film Gypsy Queen, which I have an article in the Romani Studies Journal. And there are some films produced sometimes by the Romani people, directors, producers, and these are far away, single hegemonic Western viewpoint onto their stories. And with actually there are some shifts, but there's one moment. We need a collaborative filmmaking, and we need a collaboration with Romani and non-Romani filmmakers. And these representations and these collaborations shouldn't not only be in films related to Roma, but just for everyday issues, just for ordinary issues in the life. Cinema must have more Romani directors, filmmakers, script writers, and other film makers, filmmaking personal, okay, craft, career, and because as we see, non-Roma filmmakers often reproduce stereotypes, we have to see the chances. We have to see the opportunities, more opportunities for Romani people as well, as filmmakers and audiences. And I want to give from the Gypsy Queen film, Alina Sherban. Alina Sherban is a Romani activist and Romani actress, and she played the lead role of a Romani mother in the film Gypsy Queen. I will talk about more about this film. And the director of the film is Hüseyin Tabak. He is a director with a migration background. And Alina Sherban is a Romani woman with a real experiences since her childhood. She had experiences of poverty, and with her collaboration with Tabak, well, Tabak has a migration background. They had a service as a Romani expert. Okay, for example, she offered input ranging from her Romani dialect to the clothes and food feature in the film. And so this is I think, meaningful collaboration. She works not only as a star, and she works as a cultural consultant, actually, which is very important. And also, self-representation and empowerment is very important. And there are two examples from Turkey and Scotland. Okay. For example, Ayça Tunç Cox and Ozan Uçtuk made a transformative action research project in Izmir. And they used autoethnographic filmmaking as a tool for self-empowerment. And their work to show us how the filmmaking process itself can raise the status and visibility of Romani people in Turkish society, giving them greater control over their own narratives. But this film is not a mainstream film. Okay, we don't see in televisions or in the main stream channels. Sometimes, of course, directors don't publish their films on YouTube or maybe in television channels because of some festival requirements. However, this is a great effort. This is a academic work, at the same time artistic work, for Romani self-representation. Also, in Scotland, there's a film which can help to challenge and dismantle long-established stereotypes. So we need Romani people, as are represented with cultural agency, with media literacy, and with collective dignity. Okay, now here I want to make a interim conclusion. We see that there are positive representations, they are increasing, but they are still insufficient. And we urgently need for multidimensional, non-reductionist and essentialist portrayals, and more self-representation for countering otherness. Okay, this was mainly about the European context. Now I will talk about the representations of Romani people in the Turkish context. Of course, in Turkey, there are less representations of Romani people. There are not self-representation in the popular media, in popular cinema. Okay, and because of the number of films, especially recent films, don't represent Romani people so much. Of course, sometimes we see them, but there were a couple of TV series and films mainly focusing on Romani people, and they were mainly comedic genre, comedy films, and they were very popular. Still, we see some of the series produced after 2000, after the millennium. We see repetitions of this series, actually. And in Turkey, Romani people have a rich cultural heritage. They are not migrants. They were, for hundreds of years, have been living in Turkey. So they are Turkish citizens. They were always Turkish citizens, and however, they are suffered from discriminations. They still suffer from discriminations, misrepresentations, and they are often depicted through familiar stereotypes, and they are quite similar to European representations. And there's a gap between lived Roma experience and richness, and its screen representation remains significant. There's a gap. Okay. So this study identified dominant perspectives in research on Roma representation, compare and synthesize arguments across the literature, and I aim to contribute to more nuanced, culturally sensitive portrayals of Roma. Actually, in Turkey, there are not so much study on Romani representations in cinema or in media, because there's not so many artistic work in terms of film production. And of course, Roma are a minority with rich background, with rich culture. They have a unique cultural heritage. However, they suffer from not all the time, but it's a very important issue. They face cultural stereotyping and they face socio-economic challenges similar to global trends. And media representations often reinforce negative stereotypes. I only can say that in Turkey, Romani music is very popular, and there are some Romani singers. They are very popular, and um, um, apart from the representations in cinema and in media, Romani people, Romani music and musicians are um, uh, like a national music. Like, of course, it comes from an ethnic group music, but people adore in Turkey. People adore Romani dance and Romani music, and in parties, in wedding parties, uh, we always uh, play and dance with Romani music. Okay, there are very popular Romani music, and this is a just exception. Not all the time, Romani people are marginalized, but in terms of music, Romani music is really loved and adored in Turkey. And in this series, actually, we see stereotypes again, negative, superficial images, and however, there are some in some films, for example, in Gırgırye, Gırgırye has a more nuanced and segmented film. It's a film series. I will share you their links. Maybe you can see the film. In it is these films, series are shot and the space is the Istanbul Sulkule district, and in this Gırgırye on the left, it was produced in 1980s. Okay, it is a film series, and when I read critics about this film series, of course, there were some stereotypes, but we see their interpersonal conflicts and their cultural practices, particularly their music. And for the Cennet Mahallesi, which is in the middle, Cennet Mahallesi, it's a more recent film. It was produced in between 2004 and 2007. It was broadcasted on television, very famous TV channel, Show TV, and we watch its repetitions again and again, again and again. It was a very popular series, and there are some depictions. For example, Pembe. Pembe is a very like greedy, inconsiderate, ill-mannered. Yunus, for example, one of the protagonists, he is notorious for his alcohol addiction, and Beter Ali is notorious for his theft and fraud. And this TV series, which is very popular, of course, a comedy, like the other one. However, it is criticized with the cliches, and so we should ask what improvements can we propose for more accurate representation, and it's a local and global issue, and we must think about global trends. They are similar, of course, in Europe, in America, in Turkey, with some local focus. Um, we can have better productions. Okay. So the key point in Turkey is quite with the European context. So we need more respectful and multidimensional portrayals of Roma, and we need to encourage to highlight everyday life, diversity, and cultural authenticity. And so it means we need complex Roma characters, include Roma voices and consultants in production process, and we have to use audience and audience reception studies to understand public perception. And of course, it is about ethical and socially responsible media practices. We have to promote such practices. And in cinema and TV, we need a contribution to film studies. Film studies are also in Turkey should be consulted by TV and filmmakers. Now, I would like to talk about Gypsy Queen, my film analyze. But here, I will ask you to watch on YouTube. I will share it through the message space, and after some minutes, we can come again if you like, because if I open here, the voice quality will not be good. Instead, I will share it now. Is it okay, Zameer?
Yes, if you can play, it will be great, so that we can relate ourselves. And individually, if we play, we can, get away from the. So otherwise, you can give the descriptions about this the Gypsy Queen movie. Obviously, that's a very powerful movie that.
Yeah, I will. Okay, I will do it. But I will also open the link. Just let me talk about the film first. This is my, one moment.
And I request you that you can share the link in the chat, and we will.
Okay.
And then you can discuss about the movie,
Okay.
your analysis about this movie.
Okay, I will first share my analysis. Okay, the link of the analysis. Okay, it's let me find my script. This film demonstrates a Romani mother who is called Ali. Ali is a Romani single mother with 2 children, and she was a former boxer. She had to migrate to Hamburg. So, through Ali, the film explores racism, labor exploitation, motherhood under pressure, the pain of migration or exile, and the struggle for dignity. In this analysis, I examined the characters and the spaces, and I divided the spaces as internal spaces and external spaces. And the film uses boxing as a metaphor for fighting back against structural racist barriers. And Gypsy Queen is a boxing film, and we follow the protagonists' rise and falls, both in the boxing ring and in the life. It was a struggle, and it was related to personal victory of having a dignified life for the protagonist and her children. And this film is this film has many layers, and it is not about drama or Roma film. It is about discrimination and showing how marginalized communities confront and overcome societal barriers. And Ali, as another, has 4 times disadvantages. First, she is a Romani person. Second, she is a woman. Third, she's a single mother. Fourth, she's coping with poverty. So it shows the challenges of her life. And let me talk about the film. Ali begins her story in Romania. She received a remarkable success as a boxer. She had a European junior champion, and she was living in a Romanian village, and her father was proud of her achievements, and her family hoped her as a gypsy queen in boxing. However, when she had 2 children as a single mother, she was left by her partner, and when she looked for shelter in her village, her father expelled her, and she had to move to Hamburg in Germany with her 11-year-old daughter and her 5-year-old son Matteo. She started to share an apartment with Mary, and Mary is looking like a German, but I'm not sure. Maybe she also has a migration background, but we don't have any clue about Mary. We just know she's an aspiring actress. Probably she has not. She's from a non-migrant background, and despite their difficult problems, Ali has to work with she has with underpaid person, and she works as a cleaner, and she loses her job, and she does whatever she can find, physically demanding manual labor, typically reserved for men, like construction works. And finally, she finds work at the Ritze nightclub. It is also a boxing club in Hamburg's St. Pauli district. While punching the bags in the basement, Tanne, Tanne, who is the owner of the club, Tanne sees her and he encourages her, and Ali returns to boxing. And while boxing trainings, she struggles, not just in the boxing ring, but for her daughter Esmeralda, who faces bullying at school. And uh, she has to make money for living them. And because of some reasons, Ali uh, has to fight for her motherhood, for her children. So I don't talk about so much about film. I will just show you the trailer, English trailer, uh, uh, because this film deserves such trailer. Let me open the screen.
domani hai caccato sto. Ci siamo. Apa tinggi? Amin nak bisa ni cek every pochin makian deh. Broken gel Maria. Boksa. Thanks. Ada gimana? Beli trip to mall. Wasu topre. Straße, mir gefällt es. Du hast was drauf. Ach, Mama. Mural, besar kokoro dai kam. Itu besar ini. Yo, ya belum terus kita.
Actually, I want to show you more, but it's we don't have time so much. Uh, Okay. So I already talked about plot. Now you see the poster of the film. I also want to share the film's link with you. It's, the trailer link. One moment, please. Here. This is the Gypsy Queen English trailer. Now you see my presentation, I think.
Yes.
Okay. I talked about plot. Now we can analyze the film in terms of sociology or in terms of culture. I've examined this film in terms of inclusion and exclusion, internal spaces and external spaces. Okay. So I will show you the places first, the internal places. These are inclusive spaces. Actually, we see Mary, Ali having dinner. We see here Tanne on the right, in the middle, communicating with Ali's children. These are the Ali's home, small home. It is like home, a warm home. And we see her here shower party. Okay, they try to enjoy. These are the nice, happy moments of the film. And on the right, there is external space. This is Ali's space, Ali's village in Romania, and she danced with her father. And the lamps are similar. The lamps in her home and the lamps in her village, they are similar and symbolizes happiness and joy, being together. So, at first, the home of the Ali was portrayed as warm, joyful, and safe. And the external spaces were marked by racism, job exploitation, and and precarity. And at first, in the half part of the film, there were lighting in the protagonist home, and it reflected the emotional transitions, because in the second part of the film, we saw the lightings were off, and at the end, we see the final scene uses freeze frame painting, showing ongoing struggle of the protagonist heroine. Her struggle in the life don't stop. And let's see these are the paintings. On the left, she's begging with her children. On the left, on the right, she's like agriculture worker, okay? Because Romani people work in summers as agricultural workers. And she works in unregistered low wage jobs and unsafe. She had unsafe working conditions, and the film highlighted structural barriers for vulnerable groups. Let me show you the external exclusive spaces. In the first frame, she is expelled from her village in Romania. On the left. On the right, she is moving to somewhere with a car, but we don't know, not a proper car. And here in the middle, on the left, she looks for her rights, because the other woman, or who is her supervisor, is taken to get her wage, half of her wage. And after seeking for her rights, she's fired. And on the right, as a mother, she is very sorry about her 11-year-old daughter, and she's waiting for men for very dangerous works. Okay, and she tries to make money for her family's living with men, because she only can find work for men's work. Okay, and at the bottom we see a construction work with asbestos. Asbestos is very dangerous for her health. And on the right at the bottom, they are making illegal excavation, okay, with men, of course. With work requires physical effort. So at the same time, Esmeralda, her daughter is bullied at school. She has low grades because of her mother's limited sport. Her father is not there. And so these are the poverties and racism's results. Okay. So custody becomes a major narrative tension for her. We see here, she says, we'll never get our needs again. And her daughter, I wish you weren't my mother. Okay. So she also has a boxing match in her home for saving her children. So it is about intersectionality. It's about ethnicity, class, and gender. To sum up, the film has inclusive and exclusive forces around the protagonist's life. So we shouldn't forget the important roles in this film, because the integration, inclusion, and a dignified life for everybody requires collaboration. And Tanne at the bottom is her boss at the bar and her trainer. He supports her, okay? He supports her, and at the same time, he supports himself, because he feels like a loser at the beginning of the film. So this is very. It means that inclusion is better, good for everyone, not just for marginalized people, not just for people experiencing exclusion or poverty. It is a very philosophic conclusion that I took from the film. To be happy, not one side in the society can be happy. We need two-sided, three-sided happiness and welfare is a right for everybody. And if somebody is not happy and experiencing big poverty, it also has results for all community. And a boxing ring is a metaphorical torch space here. And boxing creates belonging, empowerment, and social visibility. Because torch space, boxing ring is a meeting point of the self, the privileged self, and the non-privileged other. So here, Tanne, we see, is a hamburger. He is a substitute father figure, and he gains a purpose for his life, helping Ali. Okay, so when he helps Ali, he also helps himself. He supports himself. Mary, in the middle, she's an inclusive, homemade friend, flawed but sportive. On the right, we see Ali's father. He is far away. He didn't talk to his daughter. His pride was broken, but he always stayed as a symbolic source of empowerment in her dreams. So at the end, I'm concluding my talk. We saw that stereotypes, exotic cliches, and exclusion and anti-Gypsyism is a very dangerous problem in films. And we saw some films with multidimensional characters and collaborative production process. In the Turkish context, similar challenges persist, but we need more films, I guess, with genuine Romani representations. We shouldn't always show them as Romani, respecting their culture, of course, respecting the rich culture, and sometimes we have to show their economic problems, the poverty problem, like other people experiences, but we have to show Romani people as doctors, as students, as workers. So this is a representation necessity, a global representation necessity. So for this, self-representation and ethical collaboration are essential. Thank you very much. And I look forward to your questions. I will try to answer your questions. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Özgün, for your comprehensive lecture. Now the floor is for questions. If anyone has any question, please put forward.
Can I be first one?
Yeah, Orhan, please.
I'm looking at my brother Nazir, who is traveling, and he was so attentive about what Miss Özgün has been presenting. I know Tabak, and I know our Alina Sherban, one of the best film actresses in the world. She's as her nature an extraordinary actor. And I know Alina from the time when she was boxing, actually having training on the boxing. She was very serious, as all the professionals. And then I've been to a premiere of the film in Brussels. It was incredible to hear her voice and her explanation about the film related to Romani people. I am so attentive when any academic start to say they, we, and that relation for me is incorrect, because I believe that, for example, an academic would say the Roma or something, not a they. Again, we are making kind of not so strong breeze. I'm sorry for this, but it is like that. And the other thing is so important to speak about the film of Trollman. I know family Trollman in Germany who are still relate to Trollman himself, and what Trollman has been doing in his life is exactly how we Roma should make the appearance of our struggling for liberty, how we are looking at the freedom and equalities and so on. I don't know if you know, there was a lady who actually documented all these things, and then having a film, it was a big struggle to reach that level of production. You were also speaking about the collectiveness, doing Roma and Gadget together, film production. But in the same time, let me tell you very sharply, we Roma, with our organizations or however, we are not in control of our image. We can't control the image that appears from the time of Walt Disney and today's film on Roma. Why? We Roma did not succeed still in this very neo-fascistic Europe to organize ourselves in a sense of a production. I would recall, as Bollywood is better than Hollywood, I would recall organizing Roma food. But the governments, the producers, the funds, cultural funds, international cultural funds, I think they have still kind of a psychology of a fear. What will happen if the film would play such important role, revolutionizing Romani movement, revolutionizing Romani community in a sense of equality and a fair reporting of Roma? We journalists, we know that bad news, good news. In the same time, all these films you were speaking about, especially Snatch, I mean, that to have such Hollywood well-known actors playing gypsies. There is no gypsies. There are Roma. But this stereotype constructed such a very extraordinary bad, because we believe that Roma have strong sentence and feelings that the world is one family. Unfortunately, we can't be family because they are kicking us. So in the production in general, I would say that has to be an initiative. One of my new colleagues, Shruti, she is participating now at the conference. A very young lady from India who is at the moment like studying documentary film. So we promised to each other that the Indian-Romani cooperation can bring absolutely something that Europeans, they don't have it. Europeans still doesn't know the film of Mohenjo-Daro. Europeans doesn't know the film of Padmavati, and so on. We have those values, and those values could be the most respectful, most valuable initiative to make a good film about Roma. And I want to congratulate Özgün for such very good overview what's going on. And I like very much that you said we should come to co-production. That's why in the beginning on my informal address to you, we should meet Minister of Culture. I know so much money is going on about this film. Çingeneler, öyle böyle, Cennet Mahallesi. Cennet Mahallesi is look like, you know, the street of the paradise. And so on. And from the other side, behind of the Cennet Mahallesi is a very strong stereotypes. The way how the extraordinary Turkish actors were wearing the costumes and so on is a contest of this stereotype. And this is very specially made. I know some Turkish directors, and for example, when they have to wear the actors, bak çiçekler orada lazım olsun, o gömlekler, çiçekler bilmem ne. And so, I mean, it has to be very colorful, very whatsoever. And these point, these a kind of lectures that our friends are organizing is so important, and it's as well so important to find Özgün, who is explaining that. And this explanation should be kind of a vision, a policy, how we should make films. And it no matter is Rome or non-Rome. I said to Emir Kusturica a long time ago that I will bring him to human rights court in Strasbourg because he made all these lies, beautiful lies. As film is extraordinary film. It's a very good film. But about my people to talk about that, or Goran Bregovic makes music, you know, it's a terrible. Goran Bregovic has been stolen from Roma, those very popular national songs of Romani people, make them in another arrangement. So I am greeting you. I'm going on because I have to visit my mom, the most important person in my life. And I want to thank you, Zameer, for organizing this conference. RSP always is doing good job. And Özgün, I hope to meet you and talk and maybe cooperate with you as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Orhan, for your remarks, your valuable remarks, I can say.
Thank you.
And any question, any more question, or I have I have a curiosity to know more about, because as you mentioned about Turkish, I mentioned the Turkish film industry or cinema industry. So Roma has a very important and a very significant place and a historical, the historical place for the Roma community. Especially, you may be aware of the Sulukule quarter, that is in Istanbul, and that Sulukule in 15th century, 16th century, when the Mehmed Fateh conquered Constantinople, and then he found that the quarter, that Sulukule quarter, where the Roma people means they used to have the training to the Romani children, employing rigorous apprenticeship and the process. As a result, you find that's a number of accomplished and acclaimed musicians and dancers, and they were evolved. So the Turkey has a very important, I can say, this is a place after India. So. You also talked about the Turkish industry, like especially if you look at the golden era of the Turkish cinema industry, that is usual cam era. That's from 1950s to 1980s, late 1980s. You can find a lot of, the low budget movies and the dialogue, and all these were the features and the most important elements of that. Erstwhile the Turkish movies. Now that you can find a lot of changes, especially the new technology are being introduced. The number of documentary movies meant the global acclamations, like the Ertugrul and the Osman and number of other, the globally acclaimed documentaries and series. So I can say that means that era reinforced the stereotypes, especially such as advanced versus primitive, civilized versus barbaric. So these were the the main or these were the stereotypes and prejudices reinforced and deepened in the usual camera. So that time the Roma were also depicted as the poor and voyeur. They were seen from the voyeuristic gaze or the hackneyed from the hackneyed lens. So mentioned the cinema, the Turkish cinema did it. If you talk about the European, very well how they are representing and presenting or portraying the Roma community in a very outdated manner. Still, you can find a lot of movies projecting them as a seductive, the seductive women and poor beggars. So all these are the negative portrayal of the community in the Western or European or mainstream cinema industries. So how means the we can or because the movie involves a handsome amount of money, the Roma also don't have the funding sources as well as because now movies are not value based, spreading the social information or for the social justice. But now the movies are commercial, so it spans the handsome amount of money. So how means these stereotypes or such kind of the discriminations or exotic cliche as you talked about in your presentation. So how we can overcome, how the as a researcher, what are your take on combating such historical and perennial stereotypes and discriminations against the community, not in private space as well as the outside spaces you well described. So what do you think about
Yeah.
this?
First, we have film students, and as film academics, we have to teach the ethical rules our students first. And in the industry, we need to make awareness that all the time we don't have to produce popular cliches, okay? Because popular cliches sell better. Because cinema and TV industry is capitalist, and it is a materialist situation, so they need to sell the films. So the popular cliches are very easy for producing. Okay, you're producing again and again because it is a guarantee to sell. But I believe that without producing cliches, with a smart, we can avoid cliches for selling the films. Okay, and also another issue is that the filmmakers, the TV owners need to learn that we don't have to produce popular cliches, okay? And this is the economical term. In terms of ideologic representations, of course, on the books, on the European human rights books and documents. We read that everybody has a need. It is a must, dignified life, okay, for everybody. So in the practice, we have to see these practices, and we should avoid ideological funding sports, okay, because funding institutions are very keen to support the filmmakers with the similar ideological perspectives, okay. We have to avoid this, and they have to know that this is a disintegration, destruction, producing cliches, stereotypes is a destruction and disintegration for whole society. They have harmful effects, and Romani film students, Romani filmmakers should be supported more. Because for some disadvantages groups, women are not equal in numbers, in terms of number of male producers. It is called one moment. It's like glass cycling, like cellulite syndrome. Okay, so number of women filmmakers is not in the desired level. It's a problem. So, number of Romani filmmakers should be more. This is another issue, and there must be more dialogue between Gacho and non-Gacho. We need a dialogue in the real time and in the films. These are my points, actually. So there's another film in Turkey, actually, Gönül, which is a Netflix film. I didn't watch the film with analytical eyes, but Gönül is a promotion film, I guess. There were not so repeated, reproduced cliches in the film. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you very much. So yes, Dinesh ji, please. You unmute yourself first. Dinesh ji, unmute yourself.
Is okay?
Yeah.
Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. My greetings to everybody. Thank you, Zameer Saab, for allowing me to be part of this wonderful deliberations. And Özgün, it was a pleasure listening to you. Zameer Saab would be in a better position to introduce me. I will cut that short, but in my own small little capacity. I'm a journalist and filmmaker based in Mumbai, and today I was in Delhi. Just two questions. I think Zameer Saab is Naziri is not to be seen. It was very fascinating to see him like Roma's walking, traveling, roaming around and concentrating on the deliberations. It's a wonderful depiction of what Roma life is. He was driving and he was listening and very attentive. That is one. I was wondering if you can brief me, if you know about, I am not aware of any India versus any other country collaboration in a film as such. Has there been any efforts on that, India, Turkish or India, Roma collaboration? One. Second is, what kind of money do you think a feature film would cost and or at an average it costs there? Did you get me?
Sorry, I didn't understand your second question.
What kind of how much money? What is the cost of filmmaking for a 2-hour long film in those conditions? How many dollars or how many? What is the cost at an average?
Okay, actually, I'm not good at monetary issues, money,
No one is.
because inflation is very. In Turkey, we suffer from inflation, and it really depends on the time, the budget of the film, and even actually, I forget to answer Zameer's one question. Today, we live in a digital era, and even without budgets or very less budget, we can shoot films, make films, and we can improve the filmmaking skills of Romani people. Okay,
Yeah, that I
to
agree. Yeah.
allow them in filmmaking. Actually, for your second question, I really don't know how much money for filmmaking in Turkey. Maybe in some European countries, I don't know, but for film funds, it's really, it depends on if it's a commercial film, if it's a TV series, because I consider TV series very important because many people watch TV series in Turkey. Also in India and in many other countries, Turkish series are watched. So they are very important in terms of um, representation and audience reaction. So for making TV series is very expensive in Turkey. Also, an industrialized film, feature film, they are also very expensive. However, the short films are or low budget films are also available, really, and also it depends on the film's features. And for your first question, actually, I mainly focused on the European and uh, Turkish Roma collaborations, and I didn't see any Indian Roma collaborations, but I guess there should be some collaborations. However, I had to have some scope for my studies, so I focused on European and Turkish contexts. So I don't know exactly if there's any collaboration and study about this.
Thank you. I think Zameer Saab can be the central point, focal point to initiate this kind of collaboration. So let's all be
Actually,
after Zameer Anwar.
Right, Dineshji, there was
Yeah,
or there
sure.
is the cultural, the collaborations between India and Turkey on culture and cinema. There are some Bollywood, means the blockbuster movies like Race 2 or something. Some more films were shoot, the were screened or they had a shooting in different locations of Turkey. But now there is a little bit, I can say that a little bit restrictions from the Indian movies and all.
Yes.
So, but still there is, there is a long way to go
Yeah.
to make fruitful collaborations between two countries and Indian
What?
culture,
Yeah.
food, food, cuisine, and traditions. These are shown in the Turkish movies as well. I
Yeah.
think we.
I think I may have missed the point. My focus, I wanted to know about uh, collaboration on front of the Roma subjects. All these films are commercial films with big stars. They are shooting all over the world. And then there was this news: Amir Khan got into trouble also because he met the president there. So that is also one issue. But then my perspective, my query was particularly on Roma subject. If there has been a documentary or a docu series or a feature film focusing only on Roma life and Roma people.
So still, there is no such kind of thing. There is no such collaborations or such project undertaken recently. But we are trying to sensitize some, like especially the ICCR or ICSSR for shooting. You are the right person because you yourself are a filmmaker and you made a number of the successful documentaries and movies. And so we are. That's I said that there is a scope for collaboration, especially on Roma India connections. I also yesterday I talked to you about, and I said that I have written one script, but it requires some improvement. So let's see how we can realize this ambition and aspiration for making a movie based on Roma community, historical journey of Roma from India, the global, as I also mentioned in the beginning, that Roma community made a significant and um, uh, significant contribution to the global music and dances. They have introduced the different genres, the quiche and even flamenco dance. That is the production of Roma community. That is, but the problem is that the mainstream, Roma don't get the due remunerations, due recognitions, even though they have popularized different genre of music and dances in Balkan, in Western European countries, even in Turkey, but they are at the margin. They are not being recognized.
Yeah.
They are not being recognized by the European societies or or by the countries. But now, for the last 5 to 10 years, such momentum, this is such a momentum gaining ground. And in Prague, there is a Roma cultural festival, very famous Roma cultural festival in Prague, especially in May, in the month of March or April every year. The in Prague, there is a Roma cultural festival. In France, even in Saint Mary's de la Mer, so there is in the month of May, 22, 23rd, and 24th of May. So somewhere they are means the movement is gaining momentum, and I believe so that's because of the Roma activists, the Roma women. They are becoming vocal now. They are voicing out their concerns, and they are becoming independent. They are leading the dignified life, but still a lot, means still there is a lot to go, and so I believe that. However, any more questions, or I can conclude?
Thank you so much. My apologies that I joined late, but I think it's a good beginning. At least you've started scripting a film. Whether I do or somebody else do, it's a good initiative.
You will be the first priority, obviously.
No, that will be wonderful.
I also mentioned about the three. I also mentioned about the three, the locations: Romania, Turkey, and Bulgaria. I said to you that the three countries.
And
Yes,
I think, yeah. So let's hope and let there be a particular forum looking for the possibility of collecting funds from globally from this particular subject. If a dedicated effort can, I don't know what use I will be, but I'm at your disposal anytime.
Thank you.
Within that digital assets I have.
Thank you very much.
Özgün, you spoke about digital assets. That has made things easy, definitely. And let's exploit how much best can be done. You are all experts. I can only technical inputs I can provide, not the subject. Thank you so much. But otherwise, all the best wishes.
Thank you. Yes, Chaban, so you want to say?
Agnieszka. Chaban is my surname, Zameer. Okay. Thank you for your lecture and presentation, and yes, it was very interesting because I'm few years ago I organized these film festivals about Roma culture and documentary and non-documentary festival in Poland. And I want to ask you about maybe you know the series on Netflix, Infamy. Did you see it? And what do you think about this series?
Can you repeat
And
series name, please?
the title, Infamy. I can read it in the chat.
Infamy.
Yes, Infamia.
Okay. I don't remember the series,
Okay,
but
this is
I will
quite
check
new.
it. Okay.
This is quite new, but it's very stereotypical view of Roma in Poland. But it's in international platform.
Infamy.
How do you
Yes.
spell it, Chaban? How do you spell it?
Infamy? Infamia.
INFAMIA?
It is INFAMY.
Yes,
Okay.
I wrote this in chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks.
So thank you. I don't know, but I will look for this series. I hope it is also published in Turkey on Netflix. Okay, Zameer.
Thank you very much. And I extend my sincere thanks to all of you for attending this 46th lecture. And I expect your participation in the future event or in the next lecture as well. And I really thank Özgün for delivering such a comprehensive, informative, interesting, and illuminating lecture and the speech. And we came to know and her critical analysis of some important movies based on Roma community. So I really sincerely and heartily thanks her for accepting my invitation for living this 46th lecture. And I also again thank you all those who attended and participated in this 46th lecture. That Dobromir from Bulgaria, he's also friends of mine, and Andres from Latvia, and other friend. Uh, so Agnieszka's, I also thank you for your for sparing the precious time and participated in this lecture, and Lakan Dineshji, and Nidhi and Shruti Lakraji and all others, and those who left. So I'm really thankful, and the last week of every month we host a lecture of the Romani lecture series, and we try to invite or engage Romani scholars, the authors, writers, activists, and researchers to talk about the different aspects of the Roma communities, social, cultural aspects, as well as socioeconomic, human rights situations, historical connection between Roma and India, and historical relation between Roma and India, their migrations, and their contemporary situations. So we engage, we invite the different scholars and even a community representatives of the community, deliver the lecture. So I need your participation, and we also expect, we also welcome your feedbacks, how we can make it more, more impressive and more attractive and more, the more important this practice, because now it is after COVID we started this lecture, and it is a 46th lecture, and almost all the greatest scholars of the Roma community participated and delivered the lecture in this form, on this platform, by our invitation. So I thank you again, Agnieszka and Özgün. Thank you very much, and we expect your participation in the
Thank you
future.
very much. I also would like to thank you, Zameer. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And thank you for all the listeners and participants for listening my lecture. Greetings from Kars, Turkey. I wish to attend your other lectures. Very fruitful and insightful. Thank you again.
Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend and evening. Wonderful evening to all of you. And in India, it's going to be. It is also evening. So thank you very much. Bye. Take care. See you in the next lecture. Bye bye.